One of the most motivational videos you'll ever see. Warning. Belief changer. "Get off my lawn before I call the police," she screamed, waving a clipboard like it was a weapon. I hadn't even taken 2 steps out of my truck. I looked around. Quiet street, birds chirping, my daughter sitting in the passenger seat, clutching the welcome sign she made for our new house. And this woman, yelling like I broke into her living room. "This is my property," I said calmly, pointing to the paperwork in my hand. "I bought this land 2 weeks ago." She didn't even blink. "You can't live here. Not without our approval. HOA rules. Didn't you read the guidelines?" There was no HOA. That's what the realtor said. That's what the county record said. But this lady acted like she ran the whole neighborhood. Tight bun, heels sinking into the grass, laminated badge hanging around her neck like she was some kind of federal agent. It read, "Community Compliance Director." I didn't know those even existed. My daughter whispered, "Dad, is she gonna let us move in?" I forced a smile. "Of course, honey." The truth? I had no idea what was going on. I had served overseas, done 3 tours, and survived things most people couldn't imagine. But this was different. This was home. My first real shot at peace. And some stranger wanted to rip it away before. We even got through the front door. She walked up to the porch like she owned it, slapped a bright red paper on the door. "You have 24 hours to vacate. You're trespassing." I stared at the paper. It was fake. No official stamps, no legal signatures. Just a logo she printed herself, and a lot of bold words in all caps. I could feel it in my chest, the slow burn. But I stayed quiet, because I knew something she didn't. I wasn't just a homeowner. I had a story, and if she kept pushing, she was about to become part of it. She had no idea who I really was, and that was about to change everything. Didn't sleep that night. Every noise outside made me sit up. My daughter was curled up on the floor in a sleeping bag, her tiny backpack still half-zipped. We didn't even get to unpack. I kept checking the front window, half expecting flashing lights or a tow truck. At 6:13 a.m., it happened. A loud clang, metal hitting metal. I rushed outside in my boots and hoodie, and there she was. Clipboard Karen, standing next to a tow truck, driver who looked more confused than I did. "This vehicle is unauthorized," she said, pointing to my truck. "We're removing it under Section 5 of HOA Vehicle Code 3A. "There is no Section 5, I said, walking up slowly. "There's no HOA here." The tow truck guy scratched his head. "Look, man, she called it in. I'm just doing my job. I handed him my deed papers. He looked at them, then looked at her, then back at me. She interrupted. "That land was previously covered under HOA jurisdiction. It's being reinstated." "Reinstated?" I asked, almost laughing. "That's not how property law works." She smiled, cold, confident, like she had something else up her sleeve. "I already spoke to the sheriff," she said, "and he agrees." Now she had my full attention, because what she didn't know is that I am the sheriff, not in uniform, not on duty, but sworn in, badge in the glove box, and jurisdiction over the very land she was trying to control. I turned to the tow truck driver. "Step away from my truck." He backed off immediately. Karen's face froze for a second. "You're bluffing." I pulled the badge from my hoodie pocket and held it up. Not for drama, for proof. You impersonated law enforcement. You issued a fake eviction. You're interfering with legal property. She blinked, but didn't back down. "You'll regret this," she whispered. I looked at my daughter standing in the doorway, scared, watching. "No," I said. "You will." She came at me with lies and threats. Now I had the truth, and the badge. By noon, the neighborhood knew. I didn't go door to door. I didn't need to. Karen did it for me. She started handing out flyers, cheap paper printed in all caps, warning people that I was dangerous, hostile, and illegally occupying restricted property. She even called me a threat to suburban order, whatever that meant. One guy across the street waved awkwardly while mowing his lawn. A woman walking her dog crossed to the other side. People I hadn't even met were already looking at me like I was some kind of criminal. But that's when I realized this wasn't just about me. She had done this before. A retired couple 2 houses down told me she tried to get their granddaughter banned from visiting because her car was too loud. Another family said she once made their teenage son cry by yelling at him for rollerblading past her hedge. Nobody stopped her. She had built a kind of fear-based kingdom. Fake titles, empty threats, and a whole lot of noise. And now she was using the same tactics on me. The difference? I wasn't afraid of her. So I made a call, not to the cops, to a friend. He worked in county zoning and compliance. We served together, trusted him with my life. I told him everything. Every fake notice, every threat, every lie she plastered around the neighborhood. He said, "Email me everything. I'll pull records." 3 hours later, he called back. She's not registered with any HOA. In fact, that HOA was dissolved 6 years ago, permanently. But she has badges, signs, all fake. But here's the kicker. She filed to start a new HOA 3 months ago, illegally. No votes, no board, just her. I felt the tension in my jaw tighten. She was trying to build authority out of thin air, and then use it to evict me. My friend continued, "You've got enough here to file charges. Want me to send the paperwork?" I looked out the window. Karen was standing across the street, hands on her hips, staring at my house like it was hers. "No," I said. "I've got a better idea. She built her power on lies. I was going to bury it with the truth." The next morning, I set up the table, right on my lawn, right where she could see it. I brought out a chair, a thermos of coffee, my laptop, and a small portable printer. My daughter sat beside me drawing in her notebook, calm as ever. To anyone passing by, it probably looked like we were having a nice father-daughter picnic. But what I was printing wasn't for fun. It was every single file my friend had sent. Copies of the dissolved HOA certificate, proof of the illegal registration, her unauthorized notices. I even had a still image from a neighbor's security camera, Karen taping a fake violation notice on a stranger's door at midnight. She saw me around 8:30 a.m., stood on her porch, arms crossed, lips tight. Didn't take her long. By 9:01, she was stomping across the street like a storm in heels. "You need to stop harassing this community," she snapped. I didn't stand up. I just handed her one of the packets. "Everything in here says you're the one doing that." She didn't even look, just laughed. "You think papers will save you? I am the HOA here." "No," I said slowly. "You're a fraud, and I'm done letting you pretend." She leaned in close. "You're going to regret moving here." I looked her dead in the eyes. "You're going to regret underestimating me." Before she could reply, a voice called out from behind. "Excuse me, ma'am." It was Deputy Russell, local guy. I'd trained him myself. He had a calm face, but I could see he knew what was about to happen. Karen turned, trying to paste. On her best polite smile, "Oh, thank goodness. I was just about to call you." He cut her off. "We've received multiple reports of you impersonating a public official and distributing false legal documents." Her face went white. "You're not under arrest," he continued. "Yet. But we're asking you to come down to the station and answer some questions." She looked at me, furious, flustered, and for the first time, speechless. I gave her a nod. "I told you the truth would bury you. She tried to play queen of the neighborhood. Now the real law was at her door.